If you went on a road trip and you didn't stop for a Big Mac or drop a crispy fry between the car seats or use your McDonald's bag as a placemat, then that wasn't a road trip. It was just a really long drive. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
At participating McDonald's.
Hey, business owners, we know you know the importance of maximizing every dollar. With the Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business American Express card, you can make your expenses work just as hard as you. From afternoon coffee runs to stocking office supplies and even team dinners, you can earn miles on all your business expenses. Plus, you can earn 110,000 bonus miles for a limited time through July 16th. The Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business Card. If you travel, you know. Minimum spending requirements and terms apply. Offer ends 7/16/25.
Welcome to the HCI family of podcasts. We're your source for personal, professional, and organizational growth and development. We share our own original research, explore industry trends, and interview executives and thought leaders from across the globe. Join us for practitioner-oriented content around all things leadership, HR, talent management, organizational development, and change management. Maximize your personal and organizational potential with the HCI family of podcasts. Alan Crone, welcome to the conversation today.
Thank you so much, John. I'm glad to be here.
It is a pleasure to be with you. You're joining us from the Memphis area. I'm south of Salt Lake City in Utah. And today we're going to be talking about your recent book, The Law at Work, a legal playbook for executives and professionals. And as we were talking in the pre-interview chat, I think employment law is a sticky thing. It's a hard thing that most managers and leaders have to deal with, and most don't have any training in it. And so they are faced with challenging situations. They don't really know what to do or what they're allowed to do or what they're not allowed to do. And so I think it'll be super interesting as we unpack some of what this book offers, to really give insight to leaders and perhaps some tidbits of application and how we can utilize employment law effectively in our roles as organizational leaders. As we get started, I wanted to share Alan's bio with everybody. Alan Crone is the founder and CEO of the Crone Law Firm, one of the few law firms in Memphis and the Mid-South to focus exclusively on employment law matters. They've helped thousands of employees and C-suite executives who have been unlawfully fired, sexually harassed, denied opportunities because of their ethnicity, gender, religious beliefs, etc., successfully take legal action against those who have mistreated them at work and threatened their livelihoods. Alan has 30 plus years of experience in the legal industry and previously served as special counsel and senior policy advisor to City of Memphis Mayor Jim Strickland. Alan is author of The Law at Work, which we'll be discussing today. He also served as a chief counsel for the Tennessee Department of Employment Security, a position he was appointed to by former Tennessee Governor Don Sundquist. I could go on, but I'm going to pause there, Don. Alan, anything else you would like to highlight by way of your background or personal context before we dive on in?
No, I would just say that, we primarily represent people. Sometimes those people run businesses or are, own businesses. But it's a passion. My passion and mission is to transform the American workplace into something more equitable. And we do that by representing people and holding companies accountable. But we also do that by trying to get companies to understand compliance and to understand how to be fair. And so that's what we're about. And I'm glad to help your listeners, whether they have their own employment matter or they're trying to navigate a subordinate's employment situation and discipline and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to having this conversation with you, John.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, how to get 30, how to get 20, 20, 20, how to get 20, 20, how to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold! Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
This episode is brought to you by Greenlight. Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? Well, with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills. Wait, did I say job title yet? Get started today and see how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Polestar. There's only one true way to experience the all-electric luxury SUV Polestar 3, and that's to take a test drive. It can go from 0 to 60 in as little as 4.8 seconds with the dynamic handling of a sports car. But to truly understand how it commands the road, you need to be behind the wheel. Up to 350 miles of range, the 3D surround sound system by Bowers & Wilkins. It's all something you have to experience to believe. So book your test drive for Polestar 3 today at polestar.com.
Close your eyes, exhale, feel your body relax, and let go of whatever you're carrying today.
Well, I'm letting go of the worry that I wouldn't get my new contacts in time for this class. I got them delivered free from 1-800-CONTACTS. Oh my gosh, they're so fast.
And breathe.
Oh, sorry. I almost couldn't breathe when I saw the discount they gave me on my first order. Oh, sorry. Namaste.
Visit 1-800-CONTACTS.com today to save on your first order.
1-800-CONTACTS.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate the advocacy. I think employees often have very little power or voice within an organizational setting. And so having advocacy from firms like yours to support employees who are just trying to be treated with dignity and respect, to be treated fairly, is really important. And I think most organizations, like I don't think most leaders wake up in the morning thinking nefariously, I'm going to exploit my people today or treat them inequitably or allow my prejudice to come through in how I treat them, et cetera. Like I think most people do the best they know how, and they try to put their best foot forward. But so many leaders just don't even know, what some of the big obstacles and roadblocks are, the pitfalls, the red flags, et cetera. And so I see the organizations falling into the same traps, the same mistakes over and over and over again. And again, we can take the possibly nefarious intent, but my guess is probably not. But either way, the outcome and the impact on individuals is the same. Like people are still hurt, they're still damaged, they still lose their jobs, they still have the repercussions on their families, whether there is that kind of nefarious intent or not. When things are mishandled in the workplace from an employment law standpoint, it causes damage. It also causes cultural damage to the organization, reputational damage to the organization. So, I mean, all across the board, it's not in anyone's best interest to not handle these things correctly. Like we just need to treat people with dignity and respect, treat them fairly, and that's what you're trying to do. So I appreciate that.
No, it's my pleasure. And let me kind of start the conversation this way at a high level. I think what we get lost with in American business is that everybody's just trying to make a living. And the company has a more than legitimate duty and obligation to make money for its shareholders or its owners. So I'm not here saying I'm not anti-capitalist. I'm not anti-management. I'm pro everybody. And I think that again, if you go back, most of I'm 58, just to put my age into context. And my fathers and grandfathers grew up in a work environment that was dominated by post-World War, either World War I or World War II, where you had a huge number of veterans in the workforce. And so there was this autocratic, hierarchy that got imposed on business, and it was our way or the highway, and that created a certain dynamic. Well, now in 2024, you still have that because you still have a number of veterans in the work. And I'm not dissing veterans. It's just they're used to a certain hierarchy. But now workers have a different. They have a lot more options than just going and getting a W-2 from some. So managers have to completely rethink the way that they approach everything from discipline to training to alignment and engagement, all those words that we say to try to get folks to do what we want them to do. And so I think it starts with mission. And most businesses in America, they may give lip service to their mission, but they don't build their business around it, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I think that's right. Or at least, there's a difference between kind of your purpose, your vision, your mission aspirationally versus what you're actually doing, right? And so I think there's lots of organizations that may have very legitimate aspirational goals that are on their website, that are on banners on the wall, that, go into PR statements, et cetera. And they may have an intention to try to achieve that aspirational goal, but they're not fooling anybody. Like, everyone knows that's not how it actually is. And certainly people who work in the organization know that's not how it actually is in the day to day. And so, I was having a conversation with someone recently where, she was advocating for just being clearer in our language. Like, if it's an aspirational goal, just say that. Just like say, this is our aspirational purpose, goal, mission. But this is like where we're actually at today. And then here are the steps we're going to try to take to get to our aspiration, recognizing we're not there yet. And if you're honest about it, like, I think most people can understand that. Like, they know leaders aren't perfect. They know organizations aren't perfect, but they want to see improvement over time. And they don't want to be gaslit or told that things are a certain way when they are living it day in and day out and can see that it's not that way. Right. And so I completely agree. Like, let's have a good, clear mission, purpose. Let's articulate that well. And if it's aspirational, great. Shoot for the stars. If you hit the moon, that's still better than nothing. But like, just be clear about it. Be transparent about it, and don't gaslight people about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me put that in the context of employment law and a wrongful termination trial. If you have a culture in your company that is built around a certain mission, and I'm not talking about. I hear what you're saying about aspirational goals, but I'm talking about mission. Our mission is to deliver the best widget possible to the American consumer. And to do that, we have 5 or 6 core values that we strive towards. And so if the only time you deal with those things is, once a year or at orientation, or you've got them on the wall, but your culture, just what you said, it's gaslighting, and your culture has nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah,
that's going to come through in a trial. But if you orient your training, your hiring, your discipline, every decision that you make around those values and mission, if everybody can recite them on demand to show that it really is something that the organization is committed to, now you have the ability, and this is all great business. It's great HR compliance, but it's wonderful business, because now what you need to be doing is making sure that when you create a position, that you understand how it fits into your mission, how it exemplifies your core values, and you've got to really understand what that position does, and then hire to that. And I'll give you a cartoon level example. As I said, we represent mainly people. Well, sometimes I interview folks that have a corporate background or a defense background, and they're not committed to the mission of helping folks who've been aggrieved, transforming the American workforce. And so no matter how good of a lawyer they are, if I hire them and they're not committed to the mission, we're going to have problems down the road. I always say diversity is overrated. And what I mean by that is you want complete, homogeneous commitment to mission. And if you're finding the best people to do that, then the other diversity of what I call diversity of accidents, gender, race, religion, all those other things take care of themselves. Because as long as you're giving a good outreach and you're bringing in the best people to conform to your mission, then you're going to have an otherwise diverse workforce as it relates to everything else. But if you're just trying to say, oh, well, you know, we need half women, we need half African Americans, we need to make sure we have some Hispanics, and you're going out and you're bringing people in just for those accidental qualities to show that you have diversity, but they're not all committed to the mission or to your values, then you're going to have conflict as you go along. The other thing, and this is great for middle managers and C-suite folks that manage people and lead people, is you got to make sure people understand what it really takes to be successful in your organization. John, I agree with you 100%. Nobody hires anyone or takes a job thinking, oh, in 6 months I'm going to get fired, or 6 months I'm going to have to fire this person. The problem usually comes in because and I use this example because I'm not an accountant. I say, okay, I need an accountant. Well, there are lots of flavors of accountants, right? I mean, they're audit accountants, they're tax accountants, they're bookkeepers, you know, they're all kinds. So unless you know exactly what it is and how you want this thing done, and you just go and hire an accountant, even somebody that's got 20 years of experience and they've done well at their previous jobs, they've done well at that job. Are they going to do well at your job? And so making sure that you can train them to do things the way you want them done, and that they're trainable in that, you know, if they say, look, you know, I know that that's the way you want to do it, but I've always done it this way and I'm going to keep doing it that way. That's a red flag. Because you need somebody who's going to do it the way you want it done, the way fits in with your system. And you've got to train people to that. You can't just assume, oh, I got a 20-year accountant, therefore they can read my mind and they're going to deliver me work product just exactly how I like it. You got to communicate those things. And you can't, the easy thing to do for a manager to do is to have a subordinate that irritates them because for whatever reason, and it's usually because they don't do things exactly the way they want them done. They're not the right, you know, maybe they don't adhere to a core value that the company has. You got to communicate. And if you're training to success rather than disciplining to support termination, then you're probably not going to fire people. If you're hiring the right person, you're training them the right way, then they're going to be successful. And if all of your interactions are legitimately, hey, we're trying to give you an opportunity for success, and you're measuring everything by these core values and by your mission, then if the person doesn't work out, you've got a story to tell about how we tried to train this person, we tried to give them every tool to succeed, but they didn't adhere to this core value. And here's where we document our core values, and here's where we've talked about our core values, and this is why this person doesn't fit in with this, and they're not fitting with our mission. Now you've got a real objective basis to make a termination decision if that's what you need to do, or you've got a big incentive if the person otherwise is qualified, the person is otherwise committed to the mission, to your core values, and there's just a little bit of there's just something that needs to be worked on, then that's a person that you know you need to save, because the time and expense to get that unicorn is so much greater than the time and expense to train them up to the way that you want them to be. And if that is the way your company operates, you know, day to day, minute by minute, it's going to come through in a trial. It's going to come through in the tone of your emails. It's going to come through in how the coworkers talk about this person. And where companies really get hit is either where there is actual discrimination, and it does happen, or it's so chaotic and inconsistent, that when the manager says, well, we fired this person because they didn't live up to our expectations, it's clear to a jury because they're looking at the tone of things and you're just trying to get rid of them. And that's where the difference between what the truth is and what you can prove in court is. And oftentimes what you can prove in court is, look, the reason they gave for terminating this African-American woman is just completely false. It don't hold up. So it must be because that she was female or she was black. That's how those cases go sideways. I know that's a lot, but that's
no, that's excellent. That's excellent. And can I just highlight a couple of things? So
Sure.
First, you really focused in on alignment, which I think is just hugely important. So alignment to purpose, alignment to what the organization's trying to accomplish. And there's a lot that goes into that alignment. And in the world of organizational research, we talk a lot about person job fit, person organization fit, person culture fit. Like these are all different constructs of alignment, and they're very, very important. And if you want to have a good team that's meshing together well to produce the products and services that the organization produces, to make money, to serve the community, to provide services to consumers, etc. If you want to do that well, you want alignment, right? And then everything else you talked about is just good people practice. It's like just effective HR. And from my standpoint, like I definitely resonate with kind of your focus, your mission, your advocacy for employees. As an HR professional, that's something that I feel like that I focus on as well. Not to say that organizations are inherently bad, but too many organizations are out of alignment, and they don't do fairly straightforward, simple people practices consistently, which then causes a lot of these other problems. Like if you treat people well, you treat them with dignity and respect, and you treat them fairly, a lot of these things will never go to court. Like a lot of these things, you won't have the lawsuits, you won't have the court cases. People will be excited to show up to work and feel good about the work that they're doing and working together, etc. And when there are performance issues, instead of just strictly, like you say, instead of just trying to kind of put in place documentation to justify termination, you're actually looking at performance management in the true sense of performance management, and that is to help develop and improve the performance of the people that you're working with, so that potentially they can, hopefully if there's an issue, it can be corrected. Hopefully the person can grow, and they can grow into the role, they can grow into the job that you want them to do. That's what a good leader does. And what I see, and I find it really ironic, is I see a lot of organizations, because they're they become so kind of compliance culture oriented. And there's nothing wrong with compliance, don't get me wrong. Like we need to be compliant with law for sure. But there's a difference between like healthy people-centric culture, commitment-based culture versus compliance-based culture. And from my perspective, when I see a strictly compliance-based culture, I see leaders trying to check boxes so that they can demonstrate, like the legality of their decision, and they're not focusing on people. They're not focusing on what the actual impacts are of the decisions that are being made, or why they're making the decisions that they're making, and that has all sorts of ripple effects on culture, on like those other elements you were talking about. Like it comes through in emails, it comes through in conversations, it comes through in meetings and water cooler conversations. All of that stuff becomes pervasive, and I see a lot of what I would say are pretty toxic cultures, pretty toxic workplace environments, where I think they really are just trying, ironically, they're trying to like be in compliance, and they're trying to protect themselves from employment law litigation, but they're actually, in my view, they're creating a bigger mess, and they're creating more problems for themselves, and they're not solving that much of anything.
That's true. And the ironic thing is that we're so, I think the higher you go in management, the more worried you are that what's going on down below is not helpful. In other words, you're worried about, people gold bricking. You're worried about people not doing their job. You're worried about people not doing their job right, all these things. And so, again, you go back to that military mentality. Okay, well, the way we're going to solve that is we're going to have a bunch of rules. We're going to have a bunch of policies and procedures. And like you say, everybody's got to check stuff off their boxes. I believe that if you got someone, let's say, a typical, well, this person isn't working hard, and maybe they're not hitting their numbers. Maybe they're not, maybe it's just a perception of they're not working hard. And so now they've got kind of a target on their back because they perceived as not working hard. And maybe the problem is they're not committed to the mission. And that if you could either get them committed to the mission and see how their role fits into this great thing you're trying to do. We're trying to deliver, we're trying to make people's lives easier by delivering this widget. Well, if they see that larger societal benefit that they're having, and they believe in that societal benefit, then you're probably not going to have to motivate or incentivize them to perform well. They're going to want to overperform because they see their value and their worth. I fully believe that motivation and incentive, those are words to get people to do what they don't want to do. And if they already want to do the things you're trying to motivate or incentivize them to do, then you don't have to motivate or incentivize them. They just do it. And that's it. If you're having to worry about, okay, how do I get my managers to care about the TIF reports? Well, if those managers, if they understand how vitally important those TIF reports are for their mission, and they're not committed to do it, then paying them $50 per report's not going to get them to do it. If it is, they're going to do them wrong. You either need to change those managers. You either need to change those managers to get somebody who is committed to it, who understands why it's so important, or you got to figure out a way to get them motivated towards it. And if that's your mindset, I'm telling you, the success your organization will have, whether you're leading a unit, a department, or the whole doggone thing, you'd be surprised how when you get people that are motivated and aligned and engaged, and just treating them nice ain't going to get it. In fact, treating them nicely may work against you, because then a lot of times when we treat people nice, what we really do is we compromise on our non-negotiables. We compromise on our standards. And as soon as you compromise on your standards for your lowest performing person, your highest performing person is going to say, well, why am I working so hard? And so what you want to do is, now you got to be accountable, and that's where KPIs, key performance indicators, and other management tools come in so that we can all see how we're doing and be accountable and held accountable. And that's a very easy thing to do, is to say, all right, you got to have 5 of these. We've done research. We know how many of these TIF reports you can produce in a day, and it's 5. And you're only doing 3.7 a day. What's the issue? And if they don't bring it up, then you got to make a change because they're not committed to it. So I think that we've, as American managers, have to take a lot more time, as you say, dealing with the people issues, because you pull anybody's P&L. Your largest line item is salaries. It's people. You can't, any organization is like a turtle that's on top of a post. It didn't get there by itself. You got to have people to advance your agenda. And if you're not engaged with them, how do you expect them to be engaged with you?
Amen to all of that. Alan, this has just been a really great conversation. I note the time, I need to let you go, but before we wrap things up for today, I wanted to give you a chance to share with the audience how they can connect with you, find out more about your work, your team, where they can find your book, and then give us a final word on the topic for today.
Sure. Well, I'll start with the last question on the book. The book is, you can find that Amazon, all of the online booksellers. Just either look me up, Alan Crone, Crone, or The Law at Work, and you'll find it. As I said, we represent people, and if someone who's listening is having problems at work themselves and they need to be coached, and they don't, they certainly can't go to their lawyers, their company's lawyers, and sometimes they feel a little uncomfortable going to their own HR. We can help you with that. If you're in the middle of trying to make some employment decisions and your company would let you seek an outside ear for that, we're more than happy to help with that. And our website is CroneLawFirmPLC.com, and you can find all about us there, including how to contact us. And my email is acrone@CroneLawFirmPLC.com, and always happy to talk to folks about their situations.
Wonderful. Alan, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I encourage the audience to reach out, get connected, find out more about what Alan and his team can do for you. Check out the book. And as always, I hope everyone can stay healthy and safe. They can find meaning and purpose at work each and every day. And I hope you all have a great week.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the podcast. We hope you stay healthy and safe, and please join us again soon.